My name is Stephen Chang. I am a thespian. Does that sound smarter than actor?
So, Stephen, talk about, so how did you get into acting? Like, give us a little history about how you got into this craft.
Shit. How did I get into this thing? I didn't know what to do with my life. How about that? I remember I was living in the Bay Area at the time. I was about to go to law school. I got into law school and I went to law school for one day and I said, the hell with this. And then my wife's like, oh, you like movies? You should take an acting class. And so I took my first acting class in San Francisco and I really sucked. I probably haven't improved that much, but it's been fun. So that's how it all began. It's my wife's fault that you're talking to me right now.
So talk a little about acting in general. Like, obviously you've run the gamut. You've been in, AAA big picture movies as well as video games and television, and now you're doing like a Twitch series. Like you're in all mediums basically.
You're making me sound much more important than I actually am, but I do appreciate it. Greg, I take whatever job I can get, Greg. So the medium does not matter to me. And what I've been finding, especially with Bernie Sue kind of leading the way with this, is that it really doesn't matter. Your storytelling can be any platform now. And I mean, I want to give him a lot of credit. I feel like he put Twitch on the map with this, winning an Emmy for the artificial and things like that. So I just think it really goes to show that any platform used correctly can be monumental. I mean, I think he kind of made history with that.
Can you talk about how you got the role of Jesse in The Last of Us 2 and how that came about?
Just the old-fashioned acting way, man. You got to audition. Sadly, I'm not much, I'm probably gonna get crucified for this, but I'm not much of a gamer. I tell people the last video game I played was like Donkey Kong Country on like Super Nintendo, which I was very good at, but I'm not much of a gamer now. And I remember I got the audition for it. I didn't really know much about it. Got a call back for it. I think the moment I realized it was a big deal was, I think at the callback, Shannon Woodward was the other reader with me, and I walked in the room. I was like, "Oh crap!" I was like, "She's from Westworld, man." I was like, "This must be like a big deal if the girl from Westworld's in this." And then I just really loved it was an awesome experience. I mean, working with Neil. I even remember that audition. Most auditions you go in for, they say, you do your thing, and they say, "Well, thank you for your time," and then you never hear from them again. But he really spent the time to really work with me and ask me questions and had me try different things. It was probably one of the best auditions experiences I ever had, and which actually translated to working with him on the project, because he was just an awesome, one of my favorite directors I've ever worked with, just hands-on, and I loved it. I loved the experience. Dude, you have a Ghostbusters backpack?
Yeah.
Man.
I have lots of cool shit I've collected over the years.
Bro, man, I appreciate that. I even see the trap there, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's good stuff. It's fun. I love that thing. I haven't had a chance to wear it anywhere because of COVID, because everything's been canceled.
I understand, man.
But so actually speaking to that, like, how has that affected like your acting work, like with the stay-at-home orders and this COVID thing? Obviously you're doing some live stream stuff at home, but like, how does that affect your acting career in general?
I mean, I feel like the whole industry went dark for I feel like things are maybe starting to pick up right now. And oddly enough, I mean, I've kind of been enjoying the time off, not worrying about auditions and things. It's giving me a lot of time to focus on. I have kids, so I got to focus on them a lot. And, I'm pretty much daddy daycare most days. So, I know, there's a lot of bad stuff with COVID, but I mean, I've kind of found some silver lining in it where it's really given me some opportunities and the time to explore and be a dad, which is kind of awesome, which I don't always get the time to do. So.
And did you actually do the mocap for Jesse in Last of Us 2 or just the voice?
I did mocap, baby.
Is that your first time doing mocap ever?
My first time, man. My Speedo, my little black and blue Speedo, man. Or wetsuit, not a Speedo. I wore a Speedo under the thing. Yeah, no, it was my first time. It was a crazy experience. I mean, the nuance of what they do is amazing. Even because you wear like a helmet with the camera on front, and it's capturing your facial movement and your emotions. I feel like it's capturing. I was blown away by the technology.
I almost feel that as an actor, it's harder to do. It actually pushes you to your limit when you're doing mocap, because when you're on a set, like even if you're on a green screen, you're usually in costume, or people are in costume if it's a period piece, and you can get a feel of what it is. But they just put you on a stage with a bunch of cameras, and like you're in this dotted ping pong ball suit, and you're like, go, and
That it was really cool actually, because I don't know, it's kind of like watching a movie versus reading a book. Like when you read a book, it's like your imagination can go wild with it, when it's like everything's set, you're like, okay, well, you know what it is, this is what it is. But it was really fun, it felt like, I don't know, playing in the backyard almost, like a kid. Like they give you this little toy, like it's a little plastic foam thing. You're like, oh, okay, this is your gun, or this is your rifle, and these are your horses here. You're gonna jump on them and load up on your horse and whatnot. It's like, cool, man, sign me up. This is the town. This is what's happening here. It was really, really fun experience. I keep my fingers crossed that I get more mocap jobs in the future.
So one of the questions I have to ask, because I don't think people realize that when they see a movie like Captain Marvel, for example, right? Like you have all your big headliners and your actors talking, but like in many scenes, there's people in the background and they're doing things. And without them in the background, it would seem like a very dead scene. Can you talk about like, what is it like being type of like, the cadet officer, like the kind of nameless person in the back in these AAA films that you've been in some of them?
I mean, it's always a humbling experience. But I mean, how would I describe the experience? You're grateful for any acting jobs you can get, because goddamn, getting a job is hard enough as is. So it's always kind of feels, I would say the downside of it is you feel like the new kid at school, like this movie's been shooting for a long time. You're coming in for a small part. Everyone's kind of already friends, and then they're cliques, and you're kind of coming in, so you don't really know everyone. But then again, on the same side, I mean, with Captain Marvel, it was awesome because I feel like in the acting pyramid, it's like Marvel movies are like the top of the food chain, and getting to see how a Marvel film worked, which was ironically much like any film set, which gave me a lot of confidence, like, oh, okay. Like, and you see big actors, the big time actors, and they'll mess up their lines too. They'll say, oh shit, I forgot my line. What's my line again? And you're like, wow, like even the greats, it ain't the perfect. And so it's really kind of a humbling experience, and at the same time, kind of a confidence building experience, getting to see kind of behind the curtain, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that says a lot about our culture, because I've been doing interviews for 10 years, and I've interviewed a lot of like AAA celebrities, and it's like they're just people. Like they're just people like you and me. The only difference is they have millions of dollars. Like really, that's really the only difference. But they're just trying to make it just like everyone else is,
That's a big difference. I mean, I wish I had that $1 million, man, but I'll take it.
So obviously, like I said, you've run the gamut between video games, television, streaming services. Like, do you tackle those projects differently when you're casted to them, or is it basically it's just all the same? It's all acting. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I wish you were talking to Daniel Day, Stephen Chang, but for me, I feel like it's there's a job aspect. I want to do the best I can. I want to be prepared when I'm on set. I want to be professional. Mediums and stuff like that. Ironically, I just find acting is acting. I always remember someone told me in the beginning when I first started out, like, well, do you want to do theater or do you want to do film acting? And I was like, film, I guess. And then I've done some theater, and it's like, well, the same acting kind of principles apply. There's little, technical things you have to do differently, but acting at the end of the day, for me, I feel like is just the kind of the connection. So it don't matter if it's on a, big stage or with a goddamn helmet on with the camera sitting, 3 inches away from your face. I think it's still the connection, and there's still the things that kind of ground it and that you need to do.
What was it like going after doing all the mocap and facial capture for The Last of Us 2, then actually having the game? Have you played the game since it's released? Have you seen yourself in it? As I know they don't show you a lot when you're doing the mocap, or because it's a long period between when you do it and when the game's finally done.
I have not yet played the game. I'm a little scared to. Just because I tell people I'm like a 90-year-old person trapped in this 35-year-old body, right? I'm not very good with technology. And when I pick up these remotes nowadays with there's so many goddamn buttons on it. I was like, man, I don't know. I remember, I like just the joystick and I just hit a button, That was my kind of video game. So I'm a little intimidated by it. At the same time, I don't really like watching my acting. Because usually I watch it, I'm like, God damn, why is my eyes? I didn't know my eyes were crooked. I didn't know one of my nostrils were bigger than the other. It's hard to be objective when watching or playing a video game. But I've seen some clips of it, and it's just amazing. I'm just blown away by it.
What do they say? You're your own toughest critic, right?
I mean, I guess that's how it probably should be. But yeah, sometimes, well, I'm a tough critic, but I'm more superficial than most people.
Can you talk about this Twitch show, Artificial, and for people who don't know what it's about, can you kind of give a brief explanation about what it is and your role in it?
Yeah, it's an interactive series, which means I feel like this is the future of entertainment, where the storylines are really driven by the audience. And so there's, the Twitch audience will take votes on where they want the storyline to go. So they'll put up a poll and they'll say, do you want the story to go here? Do you want it to go here? And whatever wins, then the actors essentially kind of prepare 2 different scripts. And you're ready on the go, which is kind of crazy, especially when it's live, because you're you don't know. You're just finding out all right, we're coming back in 3, 2, 1, and this is what the choice was. And you're like, oh shit, okay, now you go this way and you start doing that scene. It's mind-blowing how it works. The show is about an artificial intelligence being that essentially a scientist has created. They're using the audience as a way to kind of educate her about the world and teach her things. And my character is kind of the billionaire investor that has kind of backed this project and is funding it. It's in its 3rd season, which has been crazy because it's been remote location filming, and my God, I don't know how they do it. They don't sleep at night around here. But it's really I just feel like whatever Bernie's done with this season, it's, 10 times harder than what we did last year. And kind of remarkable. I just feel like when the industry is shut down, Bernie was like, nah, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna make something. And he's done it.
You mentioned that you don't play a lot of video games, but you have kids. Do you have any other hobbies you like to do? Are you an outdoorsy type of guy? Are you just basically dad mode all the time now?
I have 4 kids, so dad mode pretty much consumes most of my time. My hobbies right now, man, I'm really trying to get them to be outdoorsy. So I've been trying to get outdoors a lot more. and that's kind of the thing about being a parent is that you kind of have to, I feel like, model the behavior you'd like them to see. So I try not to be on my phone too much because I don't want them someday to be on their phones too much. I try to get outdoors as much as I can. But goddamn, my favorite thing is maybe at the end of the day, everyone's asleep. And I just sit there with my wife and I say, damn it, we did another day. We made it.
That's a good phrase. We made it and through another day.
We survived this day, man. On to the next one. Man, I wish I was the more exciting. Sometimes you go in for these commercial auditions and they'll ask you like, what are your hobbies? Like, what do you do? And I'm like, fuck, man, I don't know. I'm a dad, man. I don't have much else going on. I like to just read books at night. I've been trying to do some yoga because I hear it's good for you. I'm not a very exciting person. I'm sorry, I probably ruined your interview. You're like, God, why don't we bring this boring old fart on? But,
no, I feel like I feel like especially with like social media and like big AAA films, like there's a disconnect between like our celebrity culture and like I said before, that people don't realize that these are just people trying to make it, man. You know what I mean? Like they're just people trying to get through this life just as the same on my end, on your end, on everyone's end. You know what I mean? That's all we're really trying to do, right? But if you can do something you're passionate about and love, it makes your life a much more enjoyable experience than if you're doing something you hate.
I agree 1,000%. There are days I hate this, but at the same time, it does bring me much joy and it brings me some freedom too. So
Stephen, what can we expect? I know with the COVID stuff, everything's kind of locked down, but what can we expect in the future from you? Is there anything you're working on right now you can talk about, or anything that is coming up that you can mention?
Oh, Greg, I wish I had a million things to tell you, but it's been slow, man. Artificial's been taking up most of my time. I'm starting to get a few auditions, kind of remotely because of COVID. I feel like production's maybe picking up, but not much going on. I've been writing some children's books, so that's been kind of fun to do. But other than that, you ain't gonna see. Steve Chang is just an enigma, man. You don't know where he is. He'll just pop in there.
You sit there and say you're not interesting, but then you throw out like a curveball, like, well, I'm writing some children's books. I think that's fairly interesting. Like what is even the process for that? I mean, you obviously have 4 kids, so you have a great test audience, but like, what are these books about? What's the character's name? Is he a tomato? What is he?
Well, I've actually written a few books, man. It was kind of I was trying to make like little short films, but then getting into a goddamn film festival is like impossible to do. I feel like you need to know someone or have someone famous in your movie. So I was doing that, but that wasn't going anywhere. So I was just like, I enjoy the kind of the storytelling thing. And so I was like, well, I've always liked children's books. I think I have the intellect of a child, so maybe I could communicate with them. But I wrote a book about basketball. That was my first love in my life, was basketball. I played basketball all through college and stuff like that. So it's about life lessons told from the perspective of a basketball. So that was one book I wrote, and then the other one that I've just printed finally is it's called The Armadillo, and it's about an armadillo and the different animals he meets on the way up. But I have a couple other books I've written that it's all self-publishing type stuff, so it's just I don't know how they do. I mean, as you see, there's books everywhere, but goddamn, making one is hell trying to get it made.
It's definitely a rat race, I will tell you. Like, if you want to do anything in this world anymore, it's a rat race. Whether you want to be a writer, actor, journalist, anything at all, anything creative, it's a rat race.
And you know what? It's goddamn expensive too, man. My God, even making a book, so expensive to do.
I remember when Netflix would pay you to put their movie on their platform, but now you have to pay them.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Anyway.
Well, that's great, Stephen. Like, I'm glad. I mean, it sounds like you have like a lot of creative outlets as well, being a full-time dad, and an author, and an actor, and like you just like, and you like doing a lot of different creative things. And I think we definitely, in a world that's really dark right now, that's a really good thing to have. Just being creative and being optimistic and wanting to work and you know, and being in charge of 4 kids and married. I mean, so much stuff to juggle.
It is. You're making me a little stressed out. Yeah, you did just put it in perspective. It's a lot, but yeah, no, I definitely, I love the storytelling. So.
Well, can people purchase your work online? Like, where can they go to find your kids' books? And they are on Amazon. Like, where can they go?
We ain't made it to Amazon yet, but I do have a GoDaddy website. So it's theballbook.com. It's just called The B-Ball Book. I think there's also an Instagram. So my wife takes care of technology, so I don't even know my technology, where to get it stuff. But there's an Instagram as well. It's like at the B-Ball Book. It's just at the B-Ball Book, yeah, and theballbook.com. But yeah, you can get it. I mean, if your kids like basketball, I know a thing or two about basketball. So hopefully it gets out there somehow. I've sold a few books, but probably because I'm not on Amazon. I got to get on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, that's the key. And my last question is a fun question. Is obviously you didn't play Last of Us 2, but you obviously played Jesse, and you know the world and what happened in it. We don't want to spoil anything here, but would you actually survive a Last of Us apocalypse? Like do you think you'd survive, and how long do you think you'd survive?
Man, you know, I thought about this the other day because I was walking around with my kid and one of my children. I think we're just like we're trying to just cross the dang street, and one of them sat down on the ground and like refused to move. And I said, "We gotta go, man. The cars are coming. We gotta go. He said, "No, I ain't moving." He just sat there and he cried. And then I'm trying to pull him and he's crying. And I said, you know what? If there was an apocalypse and zombies are coming, he'd probably just sit there. And I don't want to be judged as a bad dad, so I'd probably get eaten first or whatever, and then they could eat him after. But yeah, so no, I don't think with 4 kids, I wouldn't last very long. Yeah.
That's awesome, Steven. Thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. Nice meeting you and nice talking to you.